All right, I think I got this going now, Dr. Splickle. Sorry it took so long. Oops. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation. Still a little awkward on all this. I haven't really done much of this, so bear with me. I also just thank you for your help. The process has been great, or the experience has been great so far. I know I'm only three months into it, but teachers have been great, so thank you. I'm also in hiding it out in one of my kids' room um, with hope so I don't get interrupted or hear any screaming or hollering because they're playing and somebody gets in a fight. So, all right. As far as the presentation, first thing is, as far as the articles, I wanted to go over the kind of, what I was seeing, the purpose of the teacher evaluations within the articles. And not just only the articles, I guess we also had the case studies or the cases, court cases, and then they had the handbook, the teacher evaluation handbook. But what I was seeing as far as summary was to, as far as their purpose, improve teaching and the learning environment. And as far as within the learning environment and the teaching, I'm seeing what I was seeing in the articles. I'm sorry for stuttering. Within the articles was we've been on a shift as far as early on. It was more focused on the principals and what their thoughts were and their evaluations of the teachers, and it's basically solely the principal. To more now into incorporating many different aspects into the observations, whether it's test scores, whether it's community involvement, activities involvement. And so the rubrics, as far as what we've been using, the rubrics allow for that principal to really go and thoroughly take a look at many different features that we got going on or things going on as a teacher, which is nice. Because early on, whenever I started back in 2001, it was a very simple rubric. I think it was already doing the shift, don't get me wrong, but yet it was much more simple and didn't incorporate all the different aspects as far as a teacher, and it's just not the classroom. They're also there to help improve the skills and classroom practices of the teachers, and same maybe as a teaching and learning environment, but I wanted to point out that they are there to help the teachers. They're not there to be a pain. They're there to simply grow them as individuals, grow them as professionals, as to what other people are seeing and other professionals are seeing that they need. Well, first of all, hopefully it shows what they are doing well, and then two, what they need to improve on. Three, to gather evidence on both teaching and learning of the individual teacher. The school districts, the principals, administrators needs to know their staff. They need to know where they're at. They need to know what their strengths are, because if we're good administrators, we should be focusing on the strengths and we should be putting them to where they can be successful. We don't want to set them up for failure. If they're an elementary teacher and we're in a sense going to where we have some teaching science, some teaching math, and they're horrible at math, we want to know that. We want to know what are they best at, how can we use them and get the most out of their strengths. And then also, I guess, in a sense, if there is any negative things that go on and you're looking for evidence to show others, okay, this person has not been an effective teacher. We have tried to help them. We have went through the evaluation process. We have made suggestions, and they either chose not to grow, or they have tried and just are incapable. To measure teacher effectiveness, I wanted to bring up that teacher effectiveness because I think that's a really thing in the articles that really I would like to see, because effectiveness, and like they say, effectiveness in within the classroom versus maybe getting the test scores can be two different things. But what the articles talked about was how effective teachers have high expectations. They're willing to collaborate with others, and they hold themselves to a higher standard. They don't expect their students or people around them to do more than what they're doing. They go and they find and talk to other staff members whenever they see things they like, and they expect not for the individual to just be average. They expect expectations to make a kid work, to make people around them work, become better teachers, to become better students, and just overall just become better citizens, probably. And then I just want to bring up the top performing teachers because if I can look at that, I can't remember the name, but he talked about how top performing teachers, they actually, Honishek estimated that they helped students gain more than actual grade level, which was an interesting fact, versus some of the what they looked at was poor teachers' effectiveness would only get a half a grade. And the reason why I bring that up is because I thought it was interesting that yes, some teachers are really, really good, and I agree that there are some things that I'm good at that others aren't, and there's a lot of things that I'm not so good at that others are, and so excuse me. And so I just bring it up. It's for the simple fact that I agree with it, but yet I also wonder, I have 7 kids that learn at 7 different rates. And if I give a top performing teacher all 7 of my kids and they all work the same, I know that they're not all going to get that grade level. They're not all going to get that same amount of increased learning. And so being a guy that's had those 7 kids, and I've had the top and I've had the ones that had IEPs, and I got a kindergartner. My last one's a kindergarten, so I still got a lot of years left. But I just see things differently on that. I see. I thought it was an interesting fact. That's what I'll say. I'll quit rambling. Sorry. Successful evaluation systems. This one article talked about the 5 systems share future. There was 5 systems and how they share similar types of features, and these were the 3 features: create linked and integrated systems, use validated evaluation measures, and establish credibility. And I kind of took some notes here or highlighted some things. And as far as creating linked and integrated systems, it stresses the importance of aligning evaluation practices with other elements of education. I couldn't remember that. I would love to. Remember, but basically, in a nutshell, it was taking different parts of it, whether it's professional development, maybe it's test scores, career paths, accountability, and linking it together. It's not just taking one part of the pie. Use validated evaluation systems or measures, and looked like they had a couple of them. BEST was one. Team, is that right? Team, yeah, team was one. And basically, it was just saying that they needed credible information, validated information, information that wasn't easily strewed. And one of the examples in one of these was to provide portfolios. So it had in a sense, it validated what the teacher's been doing or has not been doing in a sense. And then establish credibility. Basically, it's talking about gaining trust and buy-in with, I would say, the administrators, the board. And having a very good established relationship. That it's not just necessarily a one-way street. It's more okay. It's working together, and so it isn't a me against you type of deal. Is how I took the established credibility. Teachers unions and evaluations. I always, my mind might be changing on this, but I wanted to put this out there. My opinion on teacher union is not a good one. I'm not a big fan of the teacher union. I'm not a big fan of unions, and part of that might be because of me being involved with other organizations. Whenever I was younger, I worked at Caterpillar and the unions there, and they seem to protect the wrong people. And yet there are instances where the unions very, very much appreciate it as well. So I'm just one that doesn't necessarily have a great opinion on them, but yet I also see their uses. They basically look at the evaluations as an attack on the teacher's livelihood, and they are there defending the teacher. So I have to give it to them that they do not want to see this merit-based system. They don't want to see teachers being based. Their effectiveness just being based on student performance on test scores, which I agree totally with. To say test scores is whether a teacher is effective is really, really a shame, because some of my most effective teachers that I remember, I don't know whether they actually improved my test score, but they improved my willingness to learn. Teacher evaluations at my district. Basically, we set up a date for the formal evaluation, and that's not even a meeting. Basically, it could be an email. He then comes in and observes the class. And again, at this point, early on in my year, early on in my professional career, I would basically have a special lesson plan. I would always do an extra. Now it's basically, hey, you want to come in? Let's come in, and anytime, I don't care when you come in, we're going to be doing something and you can observe it. I will say this, I started off in business teaching. I am now teaching K through 12 band and music, which is a job that I can see why they're having trouble finding anybody to do. I'm not a certified K through 12 person, band music. I'm certified business. I'm a certified teacher. I'm trying to get certified for the district. I don't know if that'll happen. So, I love teaching it. I love being around the kids. I love the music, stuff like that, but I'm not in my area. So I'm also having a lot of more observations because of just knowing he knows that, hey, I'm new and I'm learning and I need to shadow more is probably what I need to do. So after he observes the class, we have a formal meeting on what was observed. We go over, hey, this is what he saw was good. This is where we need to maybe make some improvements. And it's all based off the rubric, and it's all a numbering system on that rubric. It's easy to read. He can put notes in. It's very effective as far as I'm concerned. I enjoy it. One of the better ones I've been around. And then I want to put in there's many walkthroughs. I mean, he'll come anytime. If he hears a song he likes, he'll step in and listen. Or if he hears things going on in there, he'll step in and see what's going on and take 5-10 minutes to observe and interact with us. As far as recourse for the teachers, we basically, I looked and talked to the superintendent about all this stuff, and he's new to our district. He didn't have all the formal stuff, but I did find some documentation through use of the secretaries. And if you want anything in the school, make sure you get to know the secretaries real well and the maintenance people, and that's how you get things done. Sometimes the administration's a little bit lacking. Hopefully that maybe will change with me. Discuss, first thing is first, you always go to the source and you go to discuss it with the principal. You see what he's thinking, why he's thinking it, and take your time to explain your thoughts on it, maybe why you think it's unfair or not accurate. If that isn't enough, you can file a grievance with the superintendent, and he's got, I think it's like 5 to 10 days to actually, act on that grievance and share with you in a letter or through a meeting of what he is seeing as well and his thoughts on it. If you're still not happy, you can meet with the board. And again, they have I think it was 10 days or 5 to 10 days to respond to the grievance as well. So, and the legal case I'm citing here isn't necessarily about the evaluations, but I think it's a great example of what maybe not to do as an administrator. But in North Carolina, this guy, basically, his name is Lardini, and it's in Charlotte. And what happened was students accused him of touching them, and they have a no-touch policy in the school. And the students did not say it was inappropriate or nothing, but just that he touched him. 2 students reported this. He was called into the office. The principal basically said, hey, if you go ahead and resign without any filing any complaints or anything about it, we'll help you find a job in another district and go along with it. We won't drag your name through the mud. If you don't sign, then we're going to drag your name through the mud, basically. And so the guy decided to sign. He then went to the teacher union, which again, in this actual case, I mean, it was there to help fight for the teacher, and a good one. Because this guy's test scores, I mean, he was top in the writing. I mean, they for the past 4 years before he got let go, his writing scores were above standards. So everything was good. He was doing a great job. And so basically with one incident, all of a sudden things changed. he was awarded. He took him to court. He was awarded because the union told him to go ahead and go back and dismiss that letter that he signed and take it back. And the school district balked on it big time, and that's where they started their fighting. And it went to court. He was awarded as you can see, 1.121 million, and for basically because he couldn't find a job, and everywhere where he tried to get a job, he could not find a job in the teaching, and he was unjustly let go for one incident. And at this point, it's in the Fourth Circuit of Appeals, and it sounds like it's going to go to basically where they make an agreement. I can't even think of the name right now. As far as a lower cost, a settlement. Thank you. That was the name. So settlement. Reflection. I give that case because evaluation must provide some evidence. If we're as administrators, your evaluations should show true, really what those teachers can do, not just as in the test scores, but with the students, with the community, with the classrooms, with their peers, with the administration. It should show all that. So if you truly have somebody that's not doing what they need to be doing, even if they're friends with them, or because that'd be the big thing as an administrator. It's like you're called to become good friends with these people in a sense, and I don't know if friends is the right word, because you need to have good relations with them as far as positive, where you can interact, but yet you also have to be very honest with them. That way you're doing your job and building their skills and the learning environment of the school. So, but the evaluation, it really must provide some evidence. And I just didn't realize this now, but that number 2 was copy and pasted, and I meant to actually take points off of that. So I do apologize, but these were things that need to be, if we're going to let somebody go, that in the neglect of duty, becoming conduct, that we must establish more than just one event or one problem if you're going to let a teacher go. That's what I'm seeing as far as the legality of it. And it's got to be a process that this doesn't happen overnight, but a process where you're constantly talking to the teacher, and that it's documented that, hey, I've brought them in, that I've talked to them about this circumstance that we got going on here, or this problem that needs to be dealt with, and things are either getting better or they're not. Everything should probably be documented, and the meetings should be documented, when and what time, because the legality of this is almost scary. This is the part of the administration that I don't necessarily like, the legality part of it, because you think you could be doing everything wrong, and you do one thing wrong, and it could cost you your job and maybe your career. I know of a friend that's going through that, or has been going through that. Didn't do anything wrong, he didn't think, but in the end, it wasn't right, and he's now having to deal with that. So I would also probably be, wanting to keep somebody, on the phone that I could talk to about the legality parts of it, and bounce that off, anything that I question, bounce it off them to make sure I'm doing things right as far as legally. And I think that's it. I will provide a reflection as far as what I've learned and what I haven't learned, and then the standards as well. And so I hope I've done this right. I did enjoy reading this. I really enjoyed the handbook. I hope this is what you were looking for the assignment. I feel like I'm missing something, but it is what it is. Yeah. And so that's it, Dr. Splickle. I want to thank you again. I really do like the back and forth emails as well, just because I really do want to learn as much as I can while I'm here at FHSU, because I know that this is a job that's got a lot to it, and a lot of responsibilities, and whenever you're talking about other people, kids' life, it's livelihoods and their students' careers. It's a big deal because it's a big deal for mine, and I would not treat anybody else's kids any differently than mine, and I would treat them probably even better than mine, and that's part of being in a family too. So I will quit now. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great evening.